Hi guys, welcome back again to my channel Dami Dimension. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make a sun hat. It's going to be a reversible sun hat that you can wear both the inside and the outside. So let's just get right into the video. So I have this pattern paper that is 24 by 24 inches. I'll fold it into 4. So I have folded my paper into 4 and this is going to be the center point. So from my center point I will take 11 inches into the paper. Then I'll take that 11 inches round, just like we do whenever we want to draft a circular pattern. Okay, that's my 11 inches. I will connect them together. So this new 4 inches I want to take now is going to be the top part of the hat. I will take the 4 inches round as well. I will also connect that. So this is what I currently have. This small part right here is going to be the crown, which is the top part of the hat, and this part is going to be the brim, which is that umbrella. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and cut this out. All right, so this is what the brim is currently looking like, and this inner part that we chopped out is going to be for the crown. So I'll set this aside and I'm going to be showing you how to draft the band pattern. So the first thing I will do is to draw a straight horizontal line on this paper, and I'm going to be using dotted line for now. And I want this line I'm about to draw, I want it to be 11.75 inches long. So I'm just going to go ahead and put the length of that line right away. So from this line now, I am going to be taking 4 inches vertically. I'm still going to maintain dotted line as well, just so that by the time I'm drawing the actual lines that we need, you are able to see clearly. Okay, so I'm just going to square this up, make sure I have a rectangle. So that means this same line length I will draw it here, and this same line length I will draw it here. So this is what I currently have, and the next thing I am going to do now, I'm going to change my marker so you see. So then I will come to this corner right here. I'm going to take 1.5 inch up. From that point, I'll connect to this one. And this time around, I'm going to make this a block line. Okay, so after drawing that line, I'll come to this corner as well. The same thing, you know, I raised this up by 1.5, right? I'm also going to raise this point up from here by 1.5 as well, just like that. Then I will connect from that point also to this corner, and I'm going to use a dashed line for now just because something is still going to change about that line. So then from this point, like I said, from this point I'll take 0.75 in. Okay, so from that new point I'll connect to this line with a regular line like that, and then I will make this one thick because I've cut off the part that I don't want. So now I can make it thick and make it a block line, and also make this a block line because that is part of the lines that I need. All right, so as you can see, these dark blue lines, which is the block ones, are the pattern. So now I'm just going to go ahead and cut this pattern out. And just before I cut this out, I'm just going to put an indication on this side, which is the straight edge. That's the part I'm going to be cutting on fold. I must not forget that, so you mustn't as well. So then I'm just going to cut it out now. So then I'm going to be cutting out fabric 2 pieces on fold, and interfacing 1 piece on fold as well. And when I say 2 pieces, if you're using the same fabric for both inside and outside of your hat, that means you are cutting 2 pieces of the same fabric. But if you're using 2 different types of fabric like I will be doing today, that means you are going to cut 1 piece of each of the fabrics. So this is the crown. You are cutting the same way, 1 piece interfacing, and fabric 2 pieces as well. If you're using a thick interface, then you need 1 piece. If you're using a soft one, that means you are going to be cutting 2. So you are going to be attaching interfacing on each of your fabrics to give it enough structure. And the same goes for this one. So I just want to show you different types of interfacing real quick. The woven one, hard, soft, and this particular type as well. So as you can see, this is soft. Okay, I don't know if you can tell what type this is. As you can see it, they are all fusible interfacing, which means they have glue on this side. You can iron them onto the fabric, but this is soft. This is another woven one. It's like a cotton fabric interfacing that has a glue on this side. This This is the softest of the three. You see, this is more like a regular cotton fabric, almost like African print texture kind of thing. All right, then the last one is this, which is hard, as you can tell. You see, this is much hard, it's stiff. This is the one I recommend, and it's the one I'm going to be using today, because with this you wouldn't have to put interfacing on both of your fabrics, on both sides of your fabric, and it's just going to hold up the hat really nice. But then it might be a little bit harder to work with on your sewing machine, so keep that in mind. So this is the one I'm going to be using today. So I went ahead to use the pattern to cut out my fabrics. This is the brim of the hat for my fabric number 1. I have the inner circle, which is the crown, and I have this, which is the band. The same thing goes for the second fabric as well. I have the brim, the inner circle, which is the crown, and then I have the band, which I cut on fold. So I have the same thing for my facing. I cut out the same thing for my hard facing. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and iron this facing on one of my fabrics. I can decide to iron them on this outer fabric or maybe the inner fabric. I recommend you determine which one is softer out of your fabric, then go ahead and iron it on the softer one of your fabric. So I have joined this part, and if you notice that this part is longer, this part is longer than here, right? Let's see, this one measures about 11, while the down part here measures about 12. So the part that measures 11, the shortest part, is where you're going to be attaching this one. So I'm going to do it this way. Right side, this is the right side, has to be right side in, and I will make sure I will open up the seam. So as you can see, I have pinned it down all the way around, and you can see that I have a little bit of excess, and for this excess I'm going to go ahead and give it a little dart. And what this dart is going to do is it's going to make the head of the cap cone a little bit more rather than being just flat, because the top of the hat usually is not like flat like this, it usually cones a little bit. So this dart is going to help achieve that little cone. So I'm going to go hold that dart and stitch it a little bit here and here, and then I am going to have something like this, which I am going to go ahead and continue stitching. I'll place it this way on my sewing machine. Okay, I'll place it this way and I'll stitch all the way through. And before we move on, I'm just going to quickly talk about the sponsor of today's video.
Today's video is sponsored by SKILLSHARE. SKILLSHARE is an online learning platform where millions of creative minds like you and me come together to learn new things on different topics to become more creative. There are thousands of lessons on SKILLSHARE, topics that covers illustration, fashion design, photography, or whether you want to learn video editing, video making, art, graphic design, or maybe you want to learn about YouTube, how to start your own YouTube channel and be successful. There are lessons on how to grow on Instagram, how to grow on social media. There are lessons on marketing, craft, productivity. Did I just say marketing? I'm sure that is communicating to someone already. This was actually what captivated me on SKILLSHARE. I was taking a particular lesson by Gary. And guys, that lesson literally took me back to my drawing table, because I was able to get valuable tips that can help me to grow my online business despite the competition that is going on today. You can apply the knowledge in your fashion business as well. What makes this difference is the fact that it's focused solely on learning. That means there are not going to be ads bothering you. Despite the numerous things you can learn on SKILLSHARE, it is affordable.
And guess what, guys? The first 1,000 people to use the link in the description box is going to get 1 month free trial to SKILLSHARE. If I were you, I won't let this opportunity pass me by. So head on to the description box and grab yourself the free trial opportunity. So once that has been joined, this is what I have. And I also did the same to the second fabric as well. So the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to be combining these two. You can go ahead and give a little notches around this place. It is optional actually, but in my opinion it just gives a better look. So I'll flip this to the right side. You see what I have? Because I give those notches, it comes out super smooth. Okay, so I flip this one to the right side, but I'm not going to flip the second one to the right side so that I can put the two wrong sides together. Okay, but you have to keep in mind that here we have a stitch line and a stitch line here as well, so you have to match those two stitch lines together. So now that I'm done pinning, I have something like this, but I just want to point out that there are two ways, or let me just say several ways of joining this hat. You can go ahead and join the two similar fabrics together, which is you can combine the hat brim and this one together separately, and combine this and this one also, this one and this one separately, this and this separately, and then you now put the two together and stitch around the edge here. Okay, so I'll keep this aside, and I am just going to take this to my machine, place it on my machine this way, and I will stitch around, join the two of them together around like that. So after stitching these two together, then I'm going to place the right side of this one facing up, then I will place the right side of this one also facing it, right sides facing each other. Okay, just like that. Then I will pin it together, and I am going to stitch it together by half of an inch all the way around. So that has been stitched all around. On the wrong side it looks like this. I guess you can see the stitches there. And the next thing you should do, you should make sure you put those tiny little notches all around it. Okay, so then I'm just going to go ahead and turn it to the right side. So it's currently looking like this after turning it to the right side, but I'm just going to go ahead and give it a press. So here is it once that has been ironed down. You see it's looking pretty flat right now, but I'm not going to stop there. But because I hate the top stitch thing, I'm not going to put the sewing machine and top stitch it. You can do that if that suits you, but what I'm going to do, in order to just keep it even more securely there, just to keep these two together, is I'm going to use hemming gum. I don't know if you know about this hemming gum. That's what I'm going to just put right there in between. I'll push it as close as possible to the edge, and if it's too long, I am going to cut it into short pieces. So I'm going to cut it and just put it as much as I can. Then I'm going to use that to use my hot iron to press it down, and then it's going to be nice and secure, and it's going to remain like this. All right, so now I have put the hemming gum right there, and I've ironed it, and you see what I'm saying? You see? Okay, so next up I am going to combine the two together now, and we'll be done. So this is how I'm going to do it. So I will put the two together. Oh, but before I do that, you have to decide where you want the rough edges to be. Okay, in my case, I think I want the raw edges to be on this side, because the accessories that I'm going to use to finish it is a match with this color and not this color. So I'm going to then flip this one to the right side. I'll flip this one out because no side is wrong here. Okay, so then I am going to start matching and pinning. So now it has been stitched, and on the other side, this is what I have. And the next thing I'm going to make sure I do is to trim off this excess.
Empty hearts and neon lights, they're playing with my mind. Gotta get out of here tonight. Oh, I wanna